Today we are running through the Dollar Tree and finding some really great pieces out for fall and Halloween that we can use for outdoor decor. These are really going to dress up your patio space on a budget but look really awesome. Please give me a big thumbs up and let's jump on into it. Okay, so these are one of my favorite pieces out right now. These are huge for $1.25. So many things you can do with them. I love the pumpkin. Now my Dollar Tree didn't have a lot of the pumpkin left, so I'm not stacking this up or making it more thick or anything. You can do that if they have multiple pieces, but I'm just using what I have. I go ahead and fill in that little hole at the top where they had the tag hanging out and a little hanger. Fill that in with some wood putty and then painting this with some of my orange colored chalk paint. So I am using some of the dark brown truffle color to paint the little stem, and then I'm also using one of these little wood pieces from the Dollar Tree that is going to act as a stand. So I'm using the same color, so it's all going to coordinate together. This will also kind of blend in and not show up a lot, so you could paint it whatever color that you would like. I added a few leaves to the top, made a little raffia bow, and then got this to stand up using some tower blocks that I just kept stacking up behind it. I did as many as I could without them like showing through his mouth. Feel free to use wood glue or something a little bit more strong because whenever the hot glue does heat up, it does want to get a little bit stringy, and sometimes I've had pieces fall apart, so use stronger glue if you can. And then I hid the seam with a little bit of moss. I recently made a DIY using these books as like little wooden crates, and they worked really well. They're a little bit bigger than the normal Dollar Tree crates, so I glued them together. I'm going to use them as a planter. I had quite a bit of spackling on the edges to give it some texture. I painted a light gray color and then dry brushed over that with a darker color to give it a concrete look. But what is really fun here is using some of these sunflower stakes. These are like yard stakes with the metal piece on the back. I just kind of break it by bending it up and down a couple of times just so I have the top of it, and then I am painting some dowel rods that I picked up at Dollar Tree and going to be gluing these on there. I knew just working with the metal it was going to be ridiculous to have to try to cut these down to size, and they're on really small poles, so I knew they wouldn't stand up well. So just by switching it out for these bigger, like thicker dowel rods, I'm going to have more control about how tall they are. I can cut them down and trim them easily, and also just kind of like put them into the styrofoam. They're a little bit thicker, so they're going to be more sturdy. I glue them in place and then just make this like a fun little flower box that is perfect for fall. I was thinking it would also be really fun if you wanted to add in some solar lights. The weight of the rocks really helps not only with the aesthetic, but also keeping this like really anchored down on a table. This is perfect for like an outdoor dining space. I used it as a centerpiece. I stocked up on some of these huge words from Dollar Tree a while back, and I'm so happy I did because I've used them on so many things. Now this looks like I'm just making another sign, but I'm actually going to make this like a really fun yard stake. I don't actually put this in the yard, but I would recommend putting it in like a pot or a planter. I stuck it down in just like a hay bale, but I am using some of the long like 18-inch Dollar Tree wooden planks, put them together. I am gluing them with some hot glue and popsicle sticks, but once again, definitely trade that out for wood glue if you have a few more minutes than I do. Attach the sign together, put the word on the front. I do add an extra board at the top so that I do have space to add in more florals. I dry brush over this with some sandstone colored paint and let this dry. I sand it a little bit and then start to decorate it. Now, whenever I went to decorate this, I originally thought I was going to use these orange pumpkins, but I really worried about dirt daubers or any kind of bugs like building nests or spiders getting in there, and I wanted it to be able to be easier to clean. So I just went with a simple sunflower with a few little leaves behind it, and I felt like this would be so much easier to manage. If they do destroy the sunflower, I'll be able to pull it off and just glue one back in place without worrying about so many little pieces. There was a big open area above the welcome, or the W of the welcome, so I go ahead and glue just a little wood bead garland at the top. I really liked how it looks, but this was the fun part. I used some of my miter shears to kind of like angle down this plank so it had a point. It would stab into the ground or a pot if I needed it to. I attached it to the back of this sign, and I just feel like it looks really cute. It gives this area some height. I'm able to put little pumpkins underneath of it, and I just loved it. Back over here picking up some more of these large pieces, but this time I am going for the ghost. Now, I haven't used these this year, and this is what I was talking about earlier, like putting some together to make it more thick. I love doing this because as big as these are, they are a little bit flimsy. They tend to crack in half if they have any pressure put on them, so I love to go ahead and stack them up to make them really sturdy. I go ahead and just use hot glue, but you can use wood glue. I keep saying that, but these are outdoor projects, so I just want you to not waste your time and these fall apart. But I'm going ahead and gluing these together, getting all three of them lined up. But the real trick here is to use some wood filler to fill in the cracks along the edges. You can see there are some gaps where these are just glued together. So to make this look like one solid piece, I'm using some wood filler or wood putty to go in and just cover all of that up. So I don't worry about getting it perfect. I just really get it in the grooves and put on there, and then I'll sand it down whenever it dries. You don't want to forget to put the little putty inside of his eyes and mouth too, because that's really going to show up. I let this dry, sand it down nice and flat, and then going over with some white chalk paint to cover up everything. I love how chalk paint is really thick and it tends to cover all the imperfections more than just normal acrylic paint. Plus it dries faster and I feel like it goes a lot further, but I used to use like acrylic all the time, so either way. And then I paint the inside of his little face, and then we're going to dress him up. So you can use like burlap fabric for this, but I have this wide ribbon that I've not used before, so I thought this would already be like nice and tight woven and work really well, but I wanted to create a cute little bunting for him to hold that said boo. So I used to make ghosts like this all the time and sell them at craft shows, but I actually cut the ghosts out of real wood, so this is fun to like cheat in quotations and pick up like a Dollar Tree ghost that's already pre-cut. I just get to decorate it really cute. But for this, I cut out the little triangles, and then I left enough space at the top that I could glue it over and sandwich in between the twine, so it's going to hold them all up. I do use the first one as a template to cut the other ones, and then I'm using a paint marker to write boo on there, and I kind of have to go over it a couple of times, but in the past I have just like written it with the paint marker and then go over it with some normal like paint and a paintbrush. But this just is super easy just to keep going over it. I'm not going to be like mass producing these. I'm just making this one right now, so this was super easy. You also could use like stickers as little templates if you don't want to freehand this. I did have to glue it on his little hands, so I did want to cover up those glue dots, so I decided to make some twine bows. And then because I don't want them to be really washed out, I wanted to add something extra to the edges so it really showed up whenever this is setting on the porch. So I add some little dots and squiggly lines, and I feel like this just really outlines it and makes it pop. This is going to be so adorable just sitting out on the porch as a little door greeter, but perfect for this Halloween. Next up, if you're needing like an outdoor plant or something to set on a side table, this is perfect to make. It really like looks kind of outdoorsy, but you can dress this up any way that you want. I'm using 2 glass containers. The smaller one is from Dollar Tree, the larger one is from Target. I've used this like same style jar or container for so many different things, but definitely check your local thrift stores when you're looking for glassware. But for this, I put rocks in between the 2 containers, which absolutely looks gorgeous. Then you can fill it up with anything that you want. I stuck in a styrofoam ball and then put in some fall like floral pieces, and adds like so much color outside. And I have like a little outdoor couch with a side table, and this looks perfect on there.